I don't have all the answers. None of us do. Simply none of us do. So we're going to have to go through this together, and we have to be smart and try and figure it out as we go. But I do know that this idea of 6 years to make as much money as possible is really important. And I do think that the real answer to this, as far as I can see, is cryptocurrency, because it is the best performing asset in the world and of all time. And so I think that's the one thing we can lean in. It has a huge future in the exponential age. Technology investing is the other one. You know, there are incredible companies doing incredible things, and we're doing stupid things like, yeah, but it's already a 2 trillion company. Well, think of the world I was being talking about. Is there no reason somebody's not going to be 20 trillion? 50 trillion? Of course. Some of these companies are going to be bigger than sovereigns.
The world is entering an exponential age, and those who can see the next 6 years in crypto and technology stand to gain unimaginable wealth, while everyone else risks being left behind. That's the latest insight from Real Vision CEO Raoul Pal. Pal argues we're approaching a breaking point where the old economy and the new economy will completely diverge. The legacy system, built on debt-driven growth and demographic expansion, is collapsing under its own weight, leaving traditional investments with no clear path forward. Meanwhile, AI and blockchain are compounding at rates the world has never seen, creating a parallel system with unstoppable momentum. Pal believes these forces will fuel the final defining bull markets of our lifetimes. Those who recognize this early can position themselves for extraordinary gains, while those who hesitate risk being left out of the future entirely. Stick around until the end of the video as Raoul Pal breaks down why AI and crypto are the only real bull markets left and what that means for your financial future. We're not here for small gains, we're here for life-changing wealth. Crypto is the frontier of the digital revolution, and most people aren't paying attention yet. If you're aiming for massive gains, why wouldn't you do it tax-free? With ITrust Capital, you can buy, sell, and hold over 80 crypto assets inside a tax-sheltered IRA. That means no taxes or capital gains on trades, ever. It's not just about what you invest in, it's how you invest. With ITrust Capital's self-directed IRAs, you can grow your portfolio in the most tax-advantaged way possible. Sign up today with the link and use code DOSE7 for a $100 funding bonus, and start stacking tax-free gains now.
This video is really about why you've got 6 years left to make as much money as possible before everything we kind of understand about economics, markets, business falls apart. And I can't see beyond that, so I call it the economic singularity. So I think we've got about 6 years for that. It's not a doom date, well, this date it all happens, but it's beyond about 2030 when things are going to become not understandable by using the existing frameworks of economics, financial analysis, markets, and that kind of stuff. So what the fuck am I talking about here? I'm talking about the magic formula. The magic formula for GDP growth is driven... So sorry, I'm just going to go back, is most people look at AI, the rise of AI, and think of it, again, in societal terms. You know, what does it mean for humans, for jobs, and all of that? But I think there are more profound implications that come faster that we need to be aware of, and that's the economic singularity. So GDP growth in the magic formula is driven by population growth, productivity growth, and debt growth. So population growth in all of the developed world, including China, we've got falling, aging demographics. Many populations are now shrinking. The US, due to immigration, is just holding its head above water, but the rate of change of population is collapsing everywhere. So that means that the economic driver of population growth has disappeared. Now, we've seen that in GDP because GDP, trend rate of GDP has been falling and falling and falling, and it's gone from, in the US, from like 4% to 1.75%. And across the rest of the developed world, it's fallen even further, in most cases below 1%, matching population growth collapsing in those regions. The other side of the equation is productivity growth. Productivity growth is basically units of output per kilojoule of energy, or in other words, what you get out of your cost of electricity. So if electricity is the kind of the energy that makes the world go round, the economic energy, then we need to see what we get out of that energy. So technology has been the big driver of productivity, but the problem is as populations get older, they become less productive. So it's really been a battle, and technology has not won that battle for quite some time. Then we've had debt growth, and I've talked extensively about debt growth. Debt growth basically stops in 2008, and all debt growth is now is servicing of old debts. So that economic engine's disappeared. If you think about the Chinese economic miracle, that was a massive population of, at the time, I think it was 1.1 billion people back in the mid-90s. And what they did was come into the global labor force. The economy of China opened up. That's a massive GDP push. Productivity, well, they built the roads, the railways, the power plants, and all of the stuff that makes China what it is today. That was a productivity boost. And then they increased debt as well. So we had a huge economic boom in China, which we're now paying back with aging population because of the one-child policy. And we've also got a huge problem on the debt side. So how the hell do we solve this? You see, the everything code will just keep repeating ad infinitum, where we just have to keep debasing currency to try and offset the debt payments because GDP growth is not fast enough. So GDP is kind of the economic cash flow that pays for the debts. If GDP growth is low, interest rates need to be low, which is why the Fed are going to cut and all of those kind of things. But also, as GDP growth goes lower, debt growth keeps ballooning, and you have to keep refinancing all of this debt because there's not enough growth to grow your way out of the debt-based economy. But things started changing at the margin, and it really accelerated over COVID. Firstly, Amazon, I think, now employs more robots than it does humans. And this is a trend I've been pointing out for some time. Humans are cheaper replaced by robots that are more productive. They don't complain, they don't have unions, and over time, they're much, much cheaper. You see, what we're doing is we're using the everything code to just keep paying the debts to stall the system until this kicks in. There are two economic centers of gravity where this is really being worked on hard. Firstly, the US and China is hyper-focused on the AI. He who controls the AGI controls the world. Now, I think we'll have multiple AGIs, and whether they intersect and combine, we don't know that future. And I'm not concerned about that now. That's a topic for another day. Really, what I'm thinking about is the massive knowledge that comes from that. It's infinite humans, right? Infinite humans. So knowledge has zero scarcity. So therefore, it's zero in value. Everything that gets digitized goes to zero in value, which is one of the reasons why blockchain is so important, because you can create digital scarcity. But knowledge is going to go to zero in value. It's going to be like water everywhere. What the fuck does that mean? Well, I'll come on to a bit on that in a sec. And when you scale robots as well, again, this is more infinite humans. On the other side of the equation is productivity. So we talked about productivity being based around output per unit of electricity, let's call it. Now, people look at what Europe's doing and their drive towards green energy and say, what a ridiculous waste of resources. They're pumping money into this. It's all going to be burned. What a waste of time. It's not. In fact, it's probably one of the most important things, and both China and Europe are leading this charge. And in fact, China's leading it overall. You see, using renewable energy creates two outcomes. Firstly, it massively lowers the cost of electricity. So renewable energy shows an exponentiality in the cost. So cost keeps collapsing each year. So it's down sort of 99% over the last 20 years, and it'll keep driving lower and lower and lower as we get more effective in harnessing the sun's energy. The sun's energy, this is a massive nuclear reactor in the sky that's basically free to use, and it'll get cheaper and cheaper to capture for all of us. Now, right now, people say, well, yeah, but it doesn't scale. Right now being the words. Scaling means battery technology. Scaling means decentralized grids, not centralized grids. You don't need centralized grids to run cities. You can use decentralized grids, in which case solar, geothermal, and others scale massively, because you just need smaller amounts in more places than a big amount in one place, which is where most people get this wrong. And the reason why we're doing that is because it's much more efficient to try and eventually get it from this massive nuclear reactor in the sky than it is from burning old trees and fossils from the past. It's actually a less efficient way of doing it, even though it's very energy dense. Energy density is less important if you've got abundant energy in terms of renewables. Obviously, nuclear is the other massive play here. Nuclear, once it ramps up, basically brings the cost of electricity to zero. So I think the marginal cost of electricity goes to zero, and I think Europeans and Chinese are driving it there, and they're driving it on purpose because there's no way out of this economic trap until we drive down the cost of electricity to negligible costs, and therefore it becomes a multiplier as the technology scales on the other side, i.e. we become more efficient at using that electricity cost. That's a huge multiplier. So we've got two massive multipliers coming. One is infinite humans. Two is the productivity miracle of cheap energy. Those two things completely change what economies look like. So if you think about that formula, suddenly if you double the amount of intelligence in the planet in 1 year, you can potentially, move GDP by 30% in a year if that intelligence is used. And when you drive down the cost of electricity and productivity rises, suddenly you start to get bizarre outcomes.
Pal warns that we are hurtling toward an economic singularity, a point where traditional market and financial models will no longer work. He believes there are just 6 years left to build wealth before the system begins to unravel. Population growth has collapsed, productivity is stagnating, and debt no longer drives real expansion, merely cycling within the system. Meanwhile, AI is advancing faster than governments can regulate, and blockchain adoption is accelerating at a similar pace. Pal argues that these forces are converging to create the last two true bull markets, and investors must act now to secure their financial future.
Well, AI is going agentic, and we're going to start to see these kind of tools coming into our existence. So what happens is it becomes incredibly powerful to do complicated tasks like building businesses. And it becomes very simple for AI to do them instantly. So once AI does them instantly, obviously we'll probably need crypto payments to pay, an agent needs to pay for its electricity, or the AI model needs to pay the agent for the electricity and compute. And I think we'll use cryptocurrency to do that because last thing I've checked, AI can't get a bank account. So it doesn't go into the economic system. It's never going to transfer money over SWIFT. Never going to happen. So we've got a change of how money gets used within this new economic machine as well, which is one of the reasons I'm so bullish on crypto overall. But when you start thinking on a more profound level, right now, if you see an amazing product, let's say you're in the crypto world, and you see this amazing decentralized exchange, and you think, oh, that's super cool. They're doing things really interestingly. I want to build on this idea. And it'll take you have to spin up a team, raise some capital, and let's say it takes you 9 months because you're moving really fast. Then you launch your product, then you need to market it, etc. Well, in the world of almost where we are today, and certainly where we'll be within a year or two, well, you just go to the AI and say, hey, listen, look at this amazing new decentralized exchange. I want to copy it and improve it, and I want to do it in Hindi as well because I want to find different markets and I want to integrate it with XYZ system, and it'll just design the whole thing from a prompt. Okay, so that makes the speed of business innovation go faster and faster and faster. Over time, you will start to see people using AI to build products. And I think that's what OpenAI is doing already. And I think others will be doing it as well. So at the end of this decade, this journey from here to now is knowable. We know that the everything code is at play. That allows assets to go up due to debasement. We know that tomorrow will be more digital than today. The exponential age told us that, and is provably so. Therefore, invest in the only two secular bull markets that exist right now, which is technology itself and blockchain technology. Blockchain has been the fastest adoption of any asset class in history. It was the fastest growth of any technology in all human history, but AI is now outpacing it. So we have to invest in these things. I kind of think of it as investing in our demise as we transition to a new economic system. There's almost nothing that can get in the way of this transition because AI is moving so fast that regulators have zero chance of catching up with it. And because it's globalized, it can just shift and morph. And so therefore you need the supranationals to do something about it, and that's going to take time. So there's almost nothing to do to slow it down. It's going to change the system. It's going to change how it works, and we can invest in it. So I think we've got 6 years to invest as much as we can, whether it's your brain power or your capital, and both if you can, to make as much difference to unfuck your future as possible now. Then, when 2030, 2032, whatever comes along, you'll be better prepared because financially, you'll have maybe got yourself in a position where you've got the house that you want and some security. Now, as we go through the 2030s, in a world of abundance, we don't even know what money is anymore. So this becomes more complicated. So don't think of it as, oh, I've got my pile of money and everything's fine. It's more about my pile of lifestyle. Do I have the lifestyle I want? Am I protected from vast societal change? And so I think we've got 6 years to do that. 6 years before we don't know how to build a business. 6 years before we can't invest in financial markets. And again, 6 years is not an absolute date, but it's kind of just to give you a rough idea of how urgent this is. This is the most urgent thing. This is supplanted or changed my focus from, hey, everybody needs to be empowered in their financial journey, to you've got 6 years to fucking sort your shit out. And so, part of a lot of what I write about in Global Macro Investor is this. And Real Vision is trying to take people down this journey. This 6-year journey is the most important time of anybody's lives. I can't stress that enough. Everything will change, including society around us, and it's not going to be easy to absorb it. But at least if you're open-minded, you're adapting to it, you're investing in it, you're at least investing in this change, as opposed to fearing the change as it comes.
AI is entering an agentic phase, capable of designing and launching businesses instantly. Work that once required teams, capital, and months of effort will soon be accomplished with a single prompt. Pal explains that these new AI systems will rely on crypto to operate, since they can't open bank accounts or move money through traditional financial rails. This positions blockchain as the default payment layer for the emerging digital economy. AI builds and crypto pays. Together, they're rewriting the rules of money and business forever. The window to prepare is short. Pal warns that those who align with this transformation stand to capture wealth and opportunities on a historic scale, while those who don't risk being stranded in a broken system. The future won't wait, and neither should you. What do you think? Do you agree with Raoul Pal that AI and crypto are the only true bull markets left? Let me know in the comments. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.